Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 5 of the anime series, Fuuka, and I really enjoyed this episode because it's very much about the band practicing, getting the band together, and sort of the revolving around that convenience of the plot once again. They just happen to run into what will eventually become their guitarist, or second guitarist in their band, in the form of the little, air quotes, sister of one of the former Hedgehog's members, who gives them some practice space in this episode. And it's just hilarious that they happen to bump into her. It's their first encounter with her in the cafeteria at the start of the episode. She's very giving them the cold shoulder. She's not very talkative. She's somewhat socially inept in a similar fashion to how Yu is, being someone who spends all his time online and everything, Twitter and everything. And it's funny how that will revolve around as well. It turns out she's one of the chief people, one of his chief online friends that he talks to back and forth, and they're both sidled up together at this another anime with a Denny's ripoff. I guess Denny's is a big thing in Japan. Who would have thought? The midnight pancakes must be a big deal over there. But it's hilarious to me, all of the plot convenience that's going on. They meet her in the cafeteria. She walks away, giving them the cold shoulder, sort of spurning them, and then she just happens to be the sister who's getting kicked out of her third band, by the way, because she's not very communicative. She can't really talk to people and everything like that. And of course, Fuuka being very much the cheerleader of this band, this cause of creating music, she's immediately asking her, be a part of our band. Sarah is completely okay with that. And the whole episode is like a Hall & Oates song. Sarah, smile. It's like as soon as they can break through that outer shell that she's very much closed off, and they kind of, I don't know how they figured out, they really have to have Yu and Sarah spend some alone time together. It seems like they're really not off to a well start in friendship and everything like that. So you have Fuuka bailing after they have their first sort of catastrophic practice session. They go out to eat, and Fuuka bails out, and then Mikasa bails out, Nachi bails out, and leaving Yu and Sarah there subsequently together, and, they're tweeting back and forth, and little be known to either of them, they're tweeting to each other. She's like Yamato, the admiral, or whatever it is, over her, that's like her Twitter handle, everything. And he has no idea. He's talking about how scary she is, how ominous and all this kind of stuff. And he's telling that to her without knowing it. And then, of course, she takes a picture of the dessert she finally orders, not having eaten anything while everyone else was there. She's just sort of blankly staring out the window, and every once in a while looking at you and, sizing him up, making him feel very uncomfortable. And I love the fact that once she sends this picture, it's like slowly dawning on you. He's like not really quick to the uptake there. It's just like, that dessert kind of looks very much like the one Sarah has. And then he asks point blank through Twitter, through the tweets, are you sitting in front of me? And we have a completely 180-degree attitude turn in Sarah. She becomes very overly talkative. She's so excited that she's, met this guy that she's been talking to online. Did she even know it was a guy? I don't know exactly. And I just thought, this is really cool. This is going to be a cool added friendship, a cool added character perspective for you and the characters making up this band and everything like that. And lo and behold, did I not really see coming, but I should have, I guess, the sort of harem quotient where now she is going to be pining for him as well. As soon as they have another practice session, and this time it goes much, much better. They ended up using Nachi's brother's band space in his garage at his grandmother's house or at his home, whatever it is, and they're ribbing him, oh, you care about your grandmother, you don't want her breaking her back, making us all tea and all this kind of stuff. And he's got a problem with that. I'd respect somebody who actually respects their elders and cares about them to tell them, no, don't go making us tea and everything. We're fine, But apparently he's upset that everyone's, talking down to him or something, that, oh, you care about your grandmother. But of course they have this great practice session, and Fuuka gets right up in the way of Sarah as she's about to compliment Yu's practicing on the bass, which I got to give him kudos for. He has been spending so much time, hard work, and effort to learn this piece, And then, of course, the bomb drops. We're going to have to learn more songs. I find it interesting that the playing of these instruments seems to come so naturally to characters who are completely inept as to the uses of them. I'm somebody who is not naturally given to playing instruments, and I've had my share of trying. I had a guitar once in my life. I had a keyboard once in my life. And I'd like to get a keyboard again and keep at it. I always wanted, one of my long-standing dreams in life was to be able to play the piano or a keyboard or something like that, play a couple of pieces, such like that. But it is not by any stretch of the imagination. I even had a snare drum in band class for a time. It's not easy to get the rhythms down or to get the finger plucking of the strings of a guitar down and all that kind of stuff. And so I understand there's a lot of work and effort that you is putting into it. I'm glad we actually had sequences showing some of this, even if they were brief, because at least we know he is putting the work in to try to practice playing. He may not be naturally given to that as a talent, but you can still learn it. I just didn't want there to be, they were sort of brushing over the learning process, the studying process, because that's a very important thing. Like, if you have any hope of playing anything, you're going to have to learn it, especially if you're not given to playing a guitar or the bass or all this stuff. At least with Nachi, he is adept at playing drums. He's been doing so for a while. At least with Mikasa, he has been playing the keyboard and piano. He's an award-winning pianist, as we see from his childhood. So there is hope for them. With Sarah, she is somebody who has been playing guitar, and she plays masterfully, so it's perfect. Fuuka and you seem to be the two that are most having to learn, their way of doing it. And as I say, you have that sort of, now it's a love quadrangle, I guess. Because we already have the relationship dynamic between, you and Tama-chan, the up-and-coming singer girl, who, as we pick up in the opening of this episode, much where we left off in the previous, he had just gotten home, and there she was, and I'd made the assumption that maybe she was living there. But in fact, did she find out she apparently lives nearby, and she just decided to go over. We don't see his sisters at all in this sequence, so it leads me to wonder how she got into his house. Did they let her in? Were they there? I don't know. Did they give them some alone time to reminisce and all this stuff? They're looking at, pictures from their past, and we're finding out that apparently Tama-chan was very sort of domineering and yelling at him all the time and trying to get him to be the best kind of version of himself he could be. Very much having an idealized version of how you should be as a child. And, her family moved away or whatever it was. I don't know if that was something born out of the music career or if that was something that came later for her. Like maybe they moved away to really focus her on a musical career path, but it seems like she was too young in age. Who knows? But in any, case, it was something she eventually pursued, and she has put all of the weight of why she made that choice in her life, the support that you apparently gave her, or that she felt and assumed he was giving her. And of course, he inadvertently reveals that he had, feelings for her in a sense. He liked her very much as a kid and everything, and he's all kinds of embarrassed that he revealed that, not having any iota, one iota of an inkling that she is completely obsessively in love with him. Having written all her songs about him and everything like that. He has no idea, and she just, as I much assumed, she leaves very quickly like she's embarrassed, but she's crying happy tears on her walk home because this validated how she felt about him since they were kids. And she feels like, at least it wasn't one-sided. We both had feelings for each other. May not be the case anymore, because of that quadrangle of romance. Now, Sarah, as I say, Fuuka's going to compliment, Yu's playing of the bass and cuts off completely Sarah's doing the same. And she walks up behind him and smacks him in the back with her guitar. So it's like, oh, geez. We're skirting the harem lines now here. He's got Fuuka, he's got Sarah, he's got Tama-chan, and they're all gunning for him. And oh my god, what the hell's gonna happen? But I'm loving every minute of it. It's something like I equated back to being a teenager and watching Saved by the Bell in my youth, things of that nature. Just has a very nostalgic, it's a brand new anime that I wasn't familiar with the source material at all and everything like that. It's a brand new series, but it kind of recaptures some of the goofiness of shows I watched as a kid and as an early teenager and all that kind of stuff. And, I dig shows about music where you see them really trying to come together and really practicing, and in this case, performing relatively decently. I mean, you could still hear some of it was a bit off, but they're in the learning stages of playing that classic Hedgehogs tune, and I do hope we get to hear some other songs, because this is singularly the one song they keep playing over and over and over again. Not that I have a problem with it. I enjoy the song. But it would actually be cool to see them playing some other songs. Fuuka basically leaves things off saying, we're going to practice, we're going to learn some more songs, and then at this upcoming school festival, we're going to play. This is where we're going to perform. So I'm really hoping that's something that ends up happening without a hitch. I would actually really enjoy seeing that. Seeing them come together, learn these songs, and really kick all kinds of musical ass. And so yeah, overall, an enjoyable as hell episode. I love the debut of the character of Sarah. She's very voluptuous, very tall, model-esque, as I think Fuuka describes her. Somewhat freaky and ominous as well. But as soon as you break beyond that shell, as soon as you break the ice with her, she's talkative, she's a go-getter, she's fun, she has a great personality, and she kicks ass at guitar. What more could you ask? Perfect sort of added puzzle piece to the overall makeup of this oncoming band. And, so yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 5 of Fuuka. If you've seen it as well, if you enjoyed it as much as I did. If not, why not? Let me know in the comments below what your take on it was. And so yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.